Unit 3, we're going to focus on managing emails effectively. Is to go through the 10 best practices for managing emails, how to empty your inbox daily with the 4 Ds, how to convert emails to tasks or appointments, how to create contacts from emails. We can create rules to unclutter your inbox, create folders to help keep you organized, and we're going to take a look at the search functions available in Outlook. Management best practices. You're probably drowning in email messages for much of your day. With email usage and spam growing both at work and at home, many people feel overwhelmed by the amount of information they must manage. In this section of Outlook, we are going to show you the processes and tools to manage your emails and how to keep your head well above water. These best practices also can apply to text messages. So the first one is to manage your emails at appropriate times, not all the time. What you need to do is you need to look at the frequency that you'll check your inbox, and it really depends on your style, your workload, what times are best within your particular day. You need to use the priority 4D formula to make decisions on incoming mail. So the 4 Ds, as a reminder, are delete it, delegate it, do it, and date activate it. So you're going to read your items just once and you're going to take action, and you're going to make a decision on which of the 4 Ds you're going to use. Number 3 is convert emails requiring future action into tasks. You'll be able to easily view the amount of work that's building up, as well as your priorities. If you tend to use your inbox as your to-do list, things can often get lost and you are repetitively looking at the same item over and over again without executing it. Number 4 is convert emails to appointments if they're fixed time commitments. So you will have the ability to drag and drop an email into a calendar item and schedule time in to complete that particular item. You want to make sure that you clear the inbox after each visit. As I said, you don't want to leave it as your to-do list of a catch-all of all unanswered mail and things to do. That can become very overwhelming and you start to lose track of what's in your inbox. Create a simple filing system for emails that you need to retain. So you want to, instead of having an elaborate file system, use the search function. It often creates work with where you need to file something, and it's overwhelming to figure out where to find it after you filed it. You want to create rules that automatically file, delete, highlight, forward, or prioritize incoming emails. You don't want to allow yourself to become overwhelmed by unimportant emails. You want to get those to be filtering out of your inbox automatically, and when you can time and schedule when you want to address those or take a look at them. You can set up team roles to assist your colleagues by agreeing on maybe acronyms to use in subject lines. For instance, things like action required, no response expected, or end of message. Why this is important is because it allows you to easily identify if I have action to do, if it's just an FYI, information I need to review at a later date. You should use CC or carbon copies sparingly and be really conscious of when you reply all. Sometimes when you reply all, that causes everyone in a large distribution list to now have to handle another email when it wasn't necessary to do that. Always end your day with an empty mailbox. You want to start your day fresh and productive and well aware of what your schedule is going to be. You don't want to be overwhelmed by opening your inbox and seeing a huge list of items to have to deal with. And then you want to also apply a similar process with your mobile devices because you're often on the move. Setting up the Working Smart view for your inbox. To gain control of your emails, it is essential that you configure your inbox view so that its content is presented in the most effective way. Priority managers have found that turning off the auto preview is a great way to get a better overview of the emails in your inbox, and using the reading pane allows you to quickly view the emails and apply the 4D formula when processing. So we're going to start with going to the View tab in our emails and clicking on that. On the left-hand side here, there is a Change View, and we're going to click on that, and we want to make sure that the compact view is selected. Excellent. So then we're going to look at Message Preview, and it's located here near the middle of the screen, and we're going to click on Message Preview, and we're going to make sure that that Message Preview is selected as off. Then we're going to go to the Layout section, and we're going to look at the Reading pane. And we want to make sure that we select our preference for where the reading pane is going to be located. There is both a right and a bottom option. I currently have the right option selected. However, the bottom option looks like this. And that's completely a preference on whether or not you like it on the right or at the bottom. You can pick whatever you like best. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the to-do bar, and we're going to click that to-do bar is off. Finally, we're going to go over to the Messages section here in the left-hand side, and we want to make sure that the Show as Conversations box is checked off. Once those items have been selected, you have set up your inbox for viewing. Flagging emails. Flagging an email is a feature of Outlook that displays the message in the to-do bar. The email resides in the inbox, not in the task folder. Therefore, if you delete it from your to-do bar, the actual email will be deleted. Flagged emails are not tasks. Simply clicking on the flag does not set a start and due date. Categories can be added separately, but priorities cannot. So when we're looking at managing our time effectively, priority management recommends the use of actual tasks. However, if you find flagging an email works for you, there are a number of things you must do in order to ensure you're following best practices. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight the email that we want to flag, and we're going to right-click. You can see that it opens up a drop-down menu, and there's actually an item that is labeled Follow Up. This is how you would apply a flag. And when we hover over Follow Up, we can see that there's a number of options like today, tomorrow, this week, next week, no date, custom. These are the only options that would allow you to choose a start and due date is by picking today, tomorrow, and custom. So when I click on custom, you can see that it will open up a follow-up, and you can put in a start and a due date. You can also issue a reminder as well. So I'm going to just click on that so you can see what that looks like for a follow-up for today. And now you can see that this item has a red flag beside that particular email. You can also right-click on it, and if you choose to use categories, you can categorize what you want this email to show up under. So I'm just going to say HR administration, and now you can see that there's been a category added as well. So this is another way that you might want to identify items that you want flagged. At any point, you can mark as complete, or you can clear that flag in order to have that removed. As you can see, when you flag an item, it remains in your inbox, so you would actually have to move it into one of the folders to finish that process. Actioning emails using quick steps. After reading a message that requires action, ask yourself, what is it you need to do? When do you need to do it? For repetitive actions that you do with email, Outlook has a productivity feature called Quick Steps. These are easy to use one-click buttons which perform multiple actions at once, located in the home ribbon of your mail folder. Quick steps allow you to file, move, delete emails, create task form emails, respond to emails, and create appointments or messages while attaching or copying the content of the email text. The first time you use a default quick step, you will be prompted to set it up. To create your own quick steps, we're going to click on the Create New or expand the quick steps dialog box by clicking on the expand arrow at the bottom next to the quick step group and clicking on the new button. So as you can see, we are currently in our inbox, and we're on the Home tab. In the middle of your toolbar ribbon, there is an item called Quick Steps. And so we're going to create some new quick steps to help you with managing items in your inbox. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on Create New. And what that does is that opens up a dialog box. And the first one that we are going to create, we're going to type in Move to Task. Once we've done that, we're under the actions. We're going to find an item that says Create a Task with Attachment, which is here. And we're going to add action. We're going to select Mark as Read. And then we are going to select Add Action, and we're going to select Delete Message. And you're going to click Finish. And when you do that, you can see now that that particular quick step has been added to your ribbon at the top here. We are going to create another new quick step. This one is going to be called Task and File. Under Action, we are going to pick Create a Task with Attachment. We're going to put Mark as Read. And then we're going to select Move to Folder. There. And then under Choose Folder, we're going to go to the very bottom and select Always Ask for Folder. And we're going to say Finish. Then we're going to click on Create New again. And the next ones that quick steps that we're going to do is for fixed activities for meetings and appointments. Quick steps can be more effective when you want the email to be embedded into the calendar item. Otherwise, it's quicker to change the email to a meeting using the meeting respond icon. So we're going to do those fixed activities now. So the first one is going to be called Move to Calendar. And we're going to select under Action, Create an Appointment. Again, you have to go down a little bit with an attachment. And then we are going to put Mark as Read. And finally, we're going to select Delete Message. And click Finish. And you can see that has now been added. And we're going to create one more new quick step. And this one is called Calendar and File. And so we're going to select Create an Appointment with an Attachment. Choose Mark as Read. And then finally, we're going to pick Move to Folder. And Always Ask for Folder. Excellent. So in order to use these quick steps, what would happen is you can either highlight your email in your preview here and select one of the items up here. So if we wanted to create a task and have that email filed in our folders, we would click Task and File. If we want to move this email to a task, so what it will do is move it from the inbox to a task, and it will delete that email from your inbox. You select Move to Task. If it's an item that we're wanting to put on our calendar and we also want that email filed, you would pick Calendar and File. And the fourth option is that the email would be moved into a calendar item and deleted from the inbox, and that's Move to Calendar. So when I do that, and I'm going to click task and file, what will happen is that particular email, it will ask me to pick where I want to file it. And so for this one, I've just picked test for Outlook course. You can have a number of files that are listed here on the left-hand side. If there isn't one that you feel that fits within, you certainly can create a new file. And doing that, you would type in the name of the new file, where you would like it posted in your inbox, and select OK. And that file then would be an option to pick. So I'm going to pick test for Outlook. And what that's going to do is that's going to file the email in that particular folder, but it's also going to create a task for me. So I can change the subject to whatever I would like to do. So I'm going to say it's got to be descriptive of what I need to do. So I need to provide an update. You can pick your start and due dates. So this particular item I'm going to complete today. And so I'm going to choose a high priority because it has the same start and due date. I'm not going to select a reminder. You could do that. And you can see now that that email is actually embedded in the notes of this task. So when I click save and close, that has created a task for me. You can see that that email has been stored in my folder. Here it is here. And when I go to my tasks, you can see that that particular item has now been added to my task list here. So that has dealt with that particular item in your inbox using those quick steps. So all of these can be used by selecting the item up here, or you can right click on the email and select quick steps this way as well. Dragging emails into tasks. If using quick steps is not an option, or if the simple action of dragging your email to the task folder is more efficient, first you decide what needs to be done and by when. Place your cursor over the email and using the right mouse button, click the mouse button, hold, and drag that email to your task folder at the bottom left-hand corner. Once you've dragged it down to the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see your mouse icon with a little plus sign beside it. When you release the right mouse button, you'll see a number of options are presented. This technique is known as right dragging. You'll have three choices. Copy here as task with text. What this does is it copies the text from the email message to the task, but it does not include any attached files. Copy here as task with attachment. This copies the entire email form from the inbox to the task as an attachment. Any attached files like Word, Excel are included, and you can still reply to the email. The original email stays in your inbox. Use this option if you need the email for future reference and file it in an email folder. The final one is move here as task with attachment. This moves the entire email from the inbox to the task. Any attached files, Word, Excel, etc. are included, and you can still reply to the email. So Outlook displays a task form showing the email icon in the notes. Subject email has become the subject for the task. So I'm going to use the copy here as a task with attachment. And you can see that it opens up a task. It copies the subject line from the email in the subject line of the task. You certainly can change that. So maybe I just need to read email. You can set up start and due dates just like any other task, set a priority, and then you see that that entire email is attached here in the notes section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put today's date, I'm going to put it as a high priority, and I'm going to save that. And you can see that the email remains in your inbox, so you would have to file it wherever you feel that you would like to file it. And when I go to my task list, I now see that I have an item in here that I will need to read a particular item. Dragging emails into appointments and meetings. An email can quickly be converted into an appointment or meeting request by right-dragging the email to the calendar text label or folder at the bottom left of the screen and selecting the action from the context menu. So when I highlight the email and I right-drag over to my calendar and I release, I have the following options. So I'm going to click on copy here as an appointment with an attachment, and you'll see that that opens up a calendar item, and my subject line of my email has now become the title of the calendar item. So I might want to change that. Maybe it's prepare for, and I can put a start and end date so I can actually schedule this in on my calendar. And so I'm just going to pick 1:30. I can say if I have to be at a particular location, and in this case I don't. And then you can see the email is attached at the bottom of the calendar invite. So when I say save, I can see that my item is still in my inbox, so I would have to move it in order to get it out of there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to move over to miscellaneous. And then when I go to my calendar, I can now see that there has been an item scheduled on my calendar to prepare for that particular item. When I double click on it, I can see that original email is on there. I can double click on that email and I could reply directly from that calendar invite to respond to that email. Using an email to set up a contact record. Often someone new will send you an email, and anticipating the need for future communications, you may want to set them up in your contacts folder. This can easily be accomplished by dragging and dropping the email into your people text label at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. So I have an email here. I'm going to right-click and hold and drag down to the people at the bottom left-hand corner, and you can see I have a plus sign. I'm going to release, and then I get a number of options. I'm going to copy here as a contact with an attachment. And when I do that, what happens is it inputs in that particular contact's name. You can fill in some information about their company, maybe their position if you so choose. It inputs their email address. If you happen to know their phone number, you can certainly add that to the contact as well. But what you can see now on the notes section is that the email has been copied into the notes section. And so that is stored under this particular contact. And so every time you pull this contact up, you can see what communication you've had with that particular individual. So once you have that information input, you click Save and Close, and that has created a new contact for you from your email. Using rules to prioritize your emails. Do you ever wish you had an automated filing assistant to deal with all of those CC emails, distribution lists, or low priority newsletter and FYI reading materials? Well, you do. You can easily set up rules in Outlook that will automatically sort your lower priority emails and file them directly into a specified folder. If you receive a large volume of CC mail, you can have Outlook automatically transfer these messages to a special folder separate from your inbox to be reviewed at a later time. So in this next part, we're going to learn about quickly creating a one-off rule, creating a rule for your inbox, and color coding email messages if we chose to do that. The first one we're going to look at is quickly creating a one-off rule. You can quickly create a one-off rule based on the sender, recipients, or subject of a message to always move the mail into a specific folder. Use this sparingly, as for multiple similar rules, it's better to use a rule instead of this one-off one. So first of all, we're going to right-click on the email that we want to base the rule on. So when we right-click on it, you can see that down on the dialog box there is a rules option. And when we click or highlight that, there at the bottom here is a create rule. So we're going to click on that, and that will open up a dialog box. So under when I get emails with all of the selected conditions, this is what is going to happen. So let's say for every email that I am getting from this particular individual, I'm going to check that off. I want something to happen. I want it to do the following. I want it to move to a particular folder, so I'm going to click on move this item to this folder, and what I can do is I can select the folder. So if this particular individual is part of a certain project, or you know, that you want to house all of their email in a particular place, I'm going to select Test for Outlook course just for simplicity. And so every time I get an email from Jennifer, what it's going to do is it's going to automatically move it to the Test for Outlook folder, and it'll sit in there as an unread message. So I'm going to say okay. And it's going to come up with the rule of Jennifer has been created. Run this rule now on all messages already in my current folder. So I'm going to say okay, and let's see what happens. So what will happen now is every time that I receive an incoming message from this particular individual going forward, it's going to drop that message into this folder automatically and sit there for me. So it's an easy way to filter through things that are coming in your inbox that maybe you don't need to address right away. So let's say that we don't want to maybe do this for just that particular email. We want to create an overall rule. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our inbox, and I'm going to click on the Home tab, and we're going to see that there is some rules that we can set up. So we're going to go to the Rules button, which is over here. And same thing, it's going to bring up a bunch of options, and we're going to go down to Manage Rules and Alerts. And so that comes up, and there's a number of different options across the tab here, and we are going to create a new rule. So when we start from a blank rule, it actually has a template or a wizard that it runs you through, and so there's an infinite number of rules that you can create. And so the template we can select as a number of different options to stay organized, stay up to date, start from a blank rule. So in this particular one, we're going to go under Apply Rule on Messages I Receive from a certain person or a particular email. So I'm going to click on that one, this highlight here. And I'm going to say any messages I receive from Corey Barkley. What I'm going to do is say that any messages I receive from Corey Barkley, it's going to move to a specified folder, and I'm going to move it to my personal folder. That is my spouse. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say next. So I picked, yeah, I'm going to have this person. You can also do a number of other things. So if there's specific words in a subject line, if it's, you know, a specific word in the body, in the message header, there's like infinite numbers. So you can take a look at all the different rules. There's all sorts of things that you can do with the message and move it to. So I've asked it to move it to a specific folder. I can also say I want to play a sound when I receive that and set up what that sound would be. So I'm going to say it's an alarm. And is there any exceptions? So maybe, you know, if it's from a certain person and it has a certain specific words, then I can specify that so that it doesn't filter out the wrong things. I can name it. So I'm going to call this one husband alert. I'm going to say finish. I can run it on. I'm going to turn it on. So finish. So this rule will only run when you check your emails in Outlook. If Outlook isn't running, this rule won't apply. So I'm going to say OK. And so now I can see that there is now a rule here. So every time I receive a message from that particular individual, Corey Barkley, what it's going to do is it's going to play an alarm. It's going to give me a notice, and then it's going to move that particular email into my personal folder, and I can see that I have that folder. I'm going to say OK, and it's going to process it. And you can see I have a folder over here that is personal. So anytime I receive messages from that individual, they're going to go in there as unread. So it's really a quick way to sort through those repetitive emails that you get that don't need your attention, that could be auto-filed, and you could take a look at them at a future date. Okay, so now we're going to look at managing folders and specifically email folder organization. This is an important part of being organized and effective in your Outlook. You'll find it necessary to store emails for both maybe your business use and personal use. And so it's important that you're familiar with storage policies and what's allowed. So you can store all your emails together, either in your inbox or under one email folder, for example, called the filing cabinet. Keep the number of top-level email folders as short as possible. What you should be able to do is you should be able to see all of your folders on one screen. So mine is an example of where I have way too many folders. What I should be doing is I'll just having it about this many folders so that when I open up my Outlook, I can easily drag and drop items over into these folders. If I'm having to scroll up and down, I've got too many. You may want to group related folders together so you can make subfolders within. I would suggest doing that. If I'm dealing with a health and safety item, do I really need to have it drilled down further? Typically not. But if you feel that that helps you keep a little bit more organized, you certainly can create subfolders. You want to file your emails based on the subject they pertain to rather than by the sender or the department. For example, when you're dealing with a vendor who's providing equipment for maybe different projects, you would file the email correspondence in the respective project folders rather than the vendor folder. If the subject line for the email is unclear, you can edit the subject line to make it more meaningful before filing the email. It'll make it easier for you to retrieve the email in the future. So let's say we would like to create a file within our inbox. So I'm going to make sure my inbox folder on the left-hand side here is highlighted. When I right-click, I get the option to create a new folder. So what happens is that then when I select new folder, I can type in what I'd like to do. So new folder. You can type in anything that you choose. And when I click off of that, I now have a new folder. And when I click on it, you can see there's nothing in it right now. But I certainly can drag and drop things from my inbox into the folder. You'll see that those emails are there. So that's one way. You can move folders around if you like to have them in alphabetical order, or you would like to group them a certain way. You certainly can do that, and you would just highlight it, hold your left mouse button, and drag it to where the new placement would be. So play around with this, see how many categories make sense for you, and you can create your filing cabinet within Outlook. Search and help features. So it's more important to know how to retrieve an email than to create a complicated filing system that will take both time to remember where the file message is and where to find them after you filed them. Outlook has excellent search features to help you. Searching is fast and effective, so it's counterproductive to create a complicated folder system. You can search through emails, attachment, calendar items, contacts, and tasks using the search function. So the search is located up here above your inbox. So if you would like to search within your inbox, you'll have it highlighted, and then you can certainly search your current mailbox. Now there's a number of different options. You certainly can type in right in the general search. Let's say I want to find an item on health and safety. I know that I have a few committee emails that I'm looking for, so I'm going to look at the health and safety committee. And what it'll do is it will search through all of your different mailboxes within your inbox and find everything that says health and safety and committee, and it will give you your top results. It'll date order it, so if you know that it's a long time ago, it certainly will show you many time periods. So that's one way you could do it. If you are more specific in what you are looking for, like a particular individual, so let's say I'm looking for a gentleman named Anthony. I certainly can type that in, and it will give me everything that has the coming from an Anthony. So there's many different ways that you can search. The search function also has an advanced find. So if you have more details, you can search for particular words from a particular person, maybe who it was sent to. So you can narrow down the search a lot more. You can also put in, a time frame. So it makes it quite easy to find emails that you might be looking for, rather than going file by file by file to find, to scan through a particular file and maybe find the email, depending on how many emails you're getting. So it could take quite a long time to find exactly what you're looking for. So the search function is a very convenient way to keep yourself organized and find emails and tasks and calendar items.